Good Monday Matters. I hope you had a wonderful Sabbath and are looking forward to a great week. God's going to bless you in many, many ways. I'm sure of that, and I hope it's a good week for you. My name is Mike Courtney, and every Monday I take a minute to talk about something that makes your life hopefully happier, healthier, and a little bit holier. And so this is Monday Matters. Before I jump into that, I want to give a little explanation. My wife and I, Doris and I, are leaving sometime in the next few days for a trip that will take a couple of stops, but will end up in Florence, Italy, and then on to Rome. So most of November, we're going to be gone. It's just kind of a roundabout. We go through into Alabama, and then we go to Atlanta, and we'll fly out of Atlanta to Milan. After a while, take a train to Florence and spend some days there, and then take a train to Rome. And I just like saying that. We are excited. We are scared to death. You know, at our age, leaving Rutherford County is a pretty big adventure. So pray for us. But all that to say, I'm going to do my best to continue Monday Matters. I'm going to do my best to continue posting something every day as I normally do. But I just don't know. So don't worry. If you haven't heard from me in about 3 months, then start worrying. Call somebody, have them come look for me. But if you haven't heard from me in 2 or 3 weeks, just don't worry about that. So that's where we're going to be. I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be able to continue. I'm going to try to do some of these in advance, but we'll just have to see what happens. So thank you for being understanding about that. We started a few weeks ago talking about discipline, the spiritual disciplines particularly, and in the context of laying the foundation at the close of this year for 2024 to be a year where we live fully and abundantly as God would have us to live, where we enjoy all that He has for us. And rather than wait till January 1 to establish some New Year's resolutions, what about taking the last quarter of this year and really begin putting in place, or at least re-examining some of these spiritual disciplines that help lay the framework for building the walk that God has for us. We've talked about the discipline of prayer. We've talked about the discipline of study. We've talked about the discipline of simplicity. Today, I'd like to talk about the discipline of service. And it is a discipline. It is a conscious decision that I make to make my life not about me, but about God and about others. Not about me, but about Him and about them. I choose to do that, or I choose not to do that. And so to become a servant, to be a server, is a spiritual discipline. And I believe perhaps maybe the most life-changing of all the disciplines, when I really began to recognize that I am not the center of my universe, that this whole thing is not about me. It changes everything. A couple of verses of scripture that lend themselves to that. Romans chapter 12, verse 10, Paul says, serve one another. Let me read it in a better way. Be devoted to one another. Be devoted to one another and serve or honor one another. Mark chapter 10, verse 44. The Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve and to give Himself as a ransom for many. And then, probably the most obvious of all of these is that story in Matthew chapter 25, where Jesus is talking about that the king will say to you, I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me to drink. I was naked and you clothed me. I was an orphan and you took me in. And we will respond back, Lord, when did we do that? When did we see you hungry? When did we see you naked? When did we see you thirsty? When did we take you in? And here's the response. The king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. I kind of have the idea that when I choose to serve, I am being Jesus to other people. Actually, nothing could be further from the truth. When I choose to serve, I'm allowing them to be Jesus to me. And so to adopt the discipline of service, I think we serve in three areas. I think we serve God. Obviously, we are not here just with fire insurance for what we can get out of Him, but we serve Him. Sometimes I struggle even with the many courses that we sing that seem to be more about what God is doing for me than about what I can do for Him and about what I owe Him. We serve God. We serve others, beginning with our family, Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, the uttermost parts of the earth, beginning with our family, our friends, the people around us, and matriculating out to those people that we don't even know. But we serve other people. And then I might have a little prejudice here, but I think we serve the church. I think part of the reason God ordained the church was to give us a place to work, to be involved, to do kingdom stuff. And so to look at our lives, say, am I serving God? Am I serving others? Am I serving the church? And I don't know what your church looks like. I'm not saying your church has to be brick and mortar and have a steeple and, have a membership class. But there needs to be a community of believers, I believe, that you have some responsibility to and that you seek to serve. So how do we serve? I jotted down 7 areas that they're not the big deal. They're not the super stuff. But these 7 things that I would encourage you this week to begin to look for ways to serve. I'm going to write all this down. I've started doing this lately. Write all this down and post it on branchesblog.com so you can go there and see the list of this if you would like. But these 7 things. First of all, the service of small things. We're not talking about spectacular. We're not talking about super. We're talking about small, the service of small things. Be willing to be the servant of small things, to help someone across the street, to pick up a piece of trash and put it in the trash can, to stay after and help straighten the chairs up at a 12-step meeting. The service of small things. Look for places where you can become a servant of small things. Second, the servant of helpfulness. This may be very similar to that, but finding ways to help the other. I don't have to be the big cheese. I don't have to be in charge. I don't have to be up front. How can I help you? How can I help you further your walk with God, to help you serve your family better, to serve the church better? The service of helpfulness. The service of encouragement. What an amazing service to I am going to be an encourager. I am going to live in such a way that when people walk away from me, they are encouraged rather than discouraged. They're lifted up rather than put down. To the waitress in the restaurant, man, it's a busy day. You're doing good. Thank you. Thank you for what you do is important. Thank you for that. To the mailman, man, thanks for bringing this by every day. I appreciate that so much. To your pastor, we're just ending Pastor Appreciation Day, and to say to your pastor, I just want to encourage you. The ministry of encouragement. Third, or fourth, I guess, the ministry of affirmation, of affirming people. You have value. You have worth. I am going to affirm you, and you can do this. I hope that my children's children, the people around me, the people that I serve, I hope that they know that I believe in them. And I want to have the service of telling them that often, of affirming them. The service of guarding reputations, of not participating in gossip, and in fact, being one to step in and say, well, I don't know if that's true or not, but I want to tell you that person has always, I have seen that person live with integrity. That person does well. Guard reputations. Don't do a disservice by what comes out of your mouth, but choose the service of guarding reputations. The service of listening. What a service. Here's what I've noticed, that most of the big deal servants, that's a pretty broad statement, a lot of the big deal servants, pastors, teachers, evangelists, entertainers, speakers, they do not listen. They are not listeners. They're talkers. They're givers, and they do a great job, but they don't listen. Develop the service. Just like, can you tell me a little bit more about that? Wow, that must have been hard. I'd love to hear that story. Can we go to lunch and just I hope when I walk away from spending time with someone at the end of that meeting, they think back and say, man, we said a whole lot more about me than we did about him in that time. The service of listening. And finally this, the service of bearing one another's burdens. Listen, I don't know exactly what you're going through. I can't do, but I'm here with you. I'm praying for you. I'm believing in you. I'm going to send you a card every once in a while. I want to help bear this burden. Those 7 things, they're small, they're simple, but I think they're at the heart of service. Service of small things, the service of helpfulness, the service of encouragement, the service of affirmation, the service of guarding a reputation, the service of listening, and the service of bearing one another's burdens. When I was young, we used to sing this song, Lord, lay some soul upon my heart and love that soul through me, and may I humbly do my part to win that soul. That's service, and I encourage you to serve. Thanks for being a part of this. Thanks for listening, and just because I want to be very smug and arrogant, arrivederci. I don't even know what that means, but have a blessed day. I'll talk to you soon. I'll post something every day this week about service on Facebook and Instagram. God bless you. Have a great day.